First of all, if Priti Patel talks about, eliminating 100% of the crossings, the migrants will all cheer, because she never has yet delivered on any of the promises she's made in coping with this problem. Now, you say, are the French doing enough? No. But are we doing enough? No. And so it's no good just blaming the French as if we're still fighting the 100 Years' War. We do actually have to look at ourselves, have to look at the incentives which there are for people to risk these crossings when they're already in a perfectly safe country and could make an asylum application there. And unless we remove those incentives, and unless we start practicing, as I've said umpteen times on this programme, routine detention, there is absolutely no disincentive to come here.
Henry?
I mean, people come here, they're not detained. They can go into the country. We don't have national identity cards. We do have a flourishing underground economy. It's the easiest country in the West in which to disappear.
Is that true, Henry?
I don't think so. Let's talk about the French first of all. Look at the stretch of coastline that we want the French police and border guards to patrol. From Dunkirk, which is next to Belgium, all the way down through Calais, which is the narrowest point of the crossing, just 20 miles across to get to our coastline, all the way down to Le Touquet and Abbeville. That's about 90 miles. 90 miles, 90. Yeah. OK, how many French border guards do you want to post there? Who's going to pay for them, right? Look at the terrain. Look at the terrain. It's sand dunes. It's paraphernalia from the war. People hide. And do you want them to be there for 24/7? Should British police officers, should British border guards also be patrolling on the French side? Drones, what do we want them to do?
Well, that is why I said at the beginning very clearly that, it isn't just a question of what the French are doing. We're involved in this as well. And I don't think the French are deliberately pushing migrants across the Channel. I think they are being quite ineffective, but you've rightly... you've rightly pointed out the difficulties that they're facing. But what occurred to me about that is there was a cameraman there filming. Had he phoned the police and told them?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. The cameraman gets there before the police. But
exactly.
That is often the case. I don't know. What do you do, Henry, about this, though? Because if the French stop them, then they come again the following day.
Well, let's think about the incentives, OK? Britain had a huge empire, OK? So, which covered a third of the world. The lingua franca is English. If you notice that the people who come across to this country or who talk to the reporters, they're not French speakers. They're not coming from Central African Republic or parts of West Africa where there is difficulty and turmoil. They speak English. They may have connections with this country. And the problem as well is we don't have a system that they can use to make an application in other countries, an application to this country. The humanitarian visas proposed by the Red Cross and the British Refugee Council, they haven't got off the ground. Unless you are a Syrian in a camp in Syria where you can take advantage of the UNHCR British resettlement scheme, you haven't got a hope in hell.
The definition of a refugee is somebody who is facing persecution. And that means persecution, not just they don't like the conditions. And if you are in a country where you are genuinely being persecuted, you will find it very difficult to make an official application. I mean, it won't exactly be smiled upon. So that, I think, is not going to affect what are essentially economic migrants who want to come here. And I understand why they want to come here, but we can't take everybody who wants to come here. They are economic migrants.
Okay.
And you talk about the fact that they don't speak French. The cameraman has already ascertained who is going to be able to talk to the camera. Some of them won't speak English at all, so you might as well apply in France.
We've got loads of